So, I think I'm growing out of teen dramas. Don't get me wrong, I still love them, but I'm nearly 18, you know, I want to start like branching out of these teen dramas and like going into like university dramas or like people in their 20s, you know, getting ready for the next phase of my life. I want more of that. Not 25-year-olds playing 16-year-olds. So, you know, I was looking for something a bit more mature. Since I've been like watching like teen-related shows since I was 6. Not my fault, blame my older siblings. But what I found was either petty high school dramas or characters that have 2 kids and a mortgage. Hollywood is still yet to tap this demographic because of their obsession with adolescent life. Okay, so I'm not talking about movies, okay? Because despite the fact that there's loads of teen movies, most movies are not about teens. And there's loads of movies about people in their 20s. Also, I'm not talking about shows like The Flash or Supergirl because technically there are shows of people based in their 20s, but they don't really showcase life in your 20s that much. Plus, they're like aimed at teenagers. Like the latest season of The Flash seems like it's aimed at children. Actual children. Well, that's just my observation. I haven't actually watched the latest season of The Flash. I stopped around season 5 and I don't intend to catch up. I do not intend to catch up after what I've seen.
I am a god. The god of speed.
Like, what is this? Power Rangers? The ages of those characters in shows like that are really irrelevant. You just can't really be teens because it's unrealistic. So you know what I did? I sought out for a meaning for this obsession. And it's money, because obviously, capitalism. The first teen drama series that I found seemed to be a soap called Never Too Young that aired in between 1965 to 1966. But you know, teen shows didn't really like get that much like popularity until like the rise of teen film in the 70s and the 80s with like films like Grease and all those rom-coms like Breakfast Club, 16 Candles and stuff like that. Wait, is it 16 Wishes or 16 Candles? Which one is the Debbie Ryan one? So yeah, as the popularity rose, of course the amount of shows produced also rose because money. That's how we have the oversaturation of teen content we have today. Yes, are you proud? Are you proud of yourself, Hollywood? One of my main problems is the fact that most teen shows don't like hinge on the fact that the characters are teenagers and are in high school. So like take Riverdale or Euphoria. Any of those storylines would really work, maybe even work even better if the characters were in university or in their 20s. These shows are not contingent on the characters' ages. It's just what producers think is popular at the moment. Yeah, this is proven by the fact that a lot of shows still work. Some don't, but a lot do still work when the characters eventually make a shift from high school to university. This happened in Gossip Girl, and I feel like it still worked in Gossip Girl for like the first season or 2, and then like season 7 happened and I don't know what happened there. It happened with Buffy the Vampire Slayer. I do feel like it got better when they were in university. And Buffy the Vampire Slayer is a rare choice because I feel like in the early seasons when they were in a high school, like the type of show is something that you could have been watching when you were like 8, seeing like a little bit more mature than a Disney Channel show, but still like suitable for children. Then as like it got older and the characters grew, there was actually character development. The characters didn't act the same, they did more stuff. And when I went into university, it started to get a little bit more mature because the characters are more mature and probably the audience, the viewers, probably got a little bit more mature. They started like making sex jokes and stuff. I'm just thinking of this one episode that was, I think sure it was all about sex because there was a house and this wall gave people orgasms if you touched the wall in the house. Who wrote that storyline? What creep wrote that storyline? Anyway, I'm going a lot off track, but like it works. So you don't really need to have teen shows. Like it's like proven it works when the characters eventually get older. But you know, I may be taking a little bit of a privileged standpoint because a lot of articles I've read of why there's so much teen shows said because high school dramas and teen shows seem to be the most relatable because everyone went to high school at some point, everyone was a teen at some point. Like I get everyone was in their 20s at some point, but not everyone goes to university, but everyone has some form of education until they're 18. Well, at least in the UK. I don't know what happens in America. I know people drop out. But you know, may I just say, most teen shows are really not relatable. They either like showcase teens from like affluent in backgrounds like Gossip Girl 9210, they're OC, they're literally all rich, or it's just really, really unrealistic. The drama is hyped up and literally I would be really surprised if every single person had the same teen experience that was showcased in Euphoria or Riverdale. There's obviously some people, but not all. So that's very hard to relate to. But yeah, the shows that are relatable are not the problem in my eyes. The teen shows like Never Have I Ever or Sex Education are not what I feel like needs to change because those shows are contingent on them being like 16 to 18. But you know, like that argument, having it in the high school, in the teen setting, makes it really relatable. I'm not sure because like I get university, not everyone has the university experience, but in your 20s, I'm pretty sure people in their 20s do some really relatable things. Like you can have like a relationship drama or something else that's relatable. I don't know what's relatable in your 20s. I'm not in my 20s, and nor have I ever been in my 20s. But one of my favourite shows I've watched this year is a show called Dollface. It has Kat Dennings in it, and all the characters were based in their 20s. I thought it was pretty relatable, if I do say so myself. I'm not in my 20s, so I can't confirm nor deny the relatability of the show, but I'm pretty sure normal people, the show does it as well and is relatable. That's why people love it so much. I haven't actually watched it yet. It's on my list. I will get to it someday, but not today. You know, the question I'm proposing is, why are teen shows the default when it comes to shows about young people? But I'm sure people in their 20s have interesting lives, probably even more so than teenagers because they're probably working, so they have money, so they have like opportunities to do things like travel. They live alone, so that can cause more drama if they were living like roommates and stuff. So yeah, so why isn't it showcased as much? Like I get with sitcoms, people in their 20s and old people are always showcased, but I'm not talking about that. Like I want to see the drama. I want to see what happens in Euphoria happening to not an old person. I need to get that stigma in my mind. A 20-something-year-old person, not a 20-something-year-old person playing a 15-year-old person. These 25-year-olds keep on trying to convince us that this is the realistic teen experience. I'm here to tell you it's not. When I was 11 and went into secondary school, I was like, oh my gosh, my life is gonna start. It's gonna be so interesting. Bella met Edward when she was a teenager. So many things happen to people in their teenage years. And then my life. I do feel like shows showing loads of things happen in your teens that aren't real kind of like makes you self-conscious about your mundane life. But teenagers have boring lives. You go to school, you go home, you sleep, you eat, and you sometimes hang out with your friends. But you know, the other day it just clicked. It clicked and something blew my mind. I'm meant to be older than the characters from Euphoria. A year older. Oh my gosh. Next week I'm going into year 13 actually. And in the first season of Euphoria, which is the only season that's out as of filming this, they were going into their junior year, and that means that they were 16 going on 17 and 17 going on 18. I really don't know what to say to that. That doesn't seem right. That doesn't seem right. The sexualization in that show is too much. And yeah, that's one of my main issues with the market for teen shows. and I go over this in like my movie tropes video, is the fact that they always show teens partaking in behaviours that are really not appropriate for their age. And no, I will not get over Kat from Euphoria being a literal sex worker at 16. Illegal. Illegal. And I don't know what story, they may do a storyline in season 2 of like her kind of being condemned for it, but she doesn't really get condemned for it. Her friends just say that she's like not acting herself and stuff. Nothing bad happens that would happen in real life as a result for her doing it. So maybe in season 2 they'll do a storyline, but I feel like her storyline does kind of glamorize that behaviour. I'm going on a tangent. I just feel like if you want to include all that stuff with young people, why not people in their 20s? As I've already said, they're still young, they're still kicking it, and it's more realistic. Like, they may actually do all these things like drink, drugs, sex work. I know actually legal, except from the drugs thing. And like underage sex as well, that's like normalised in TV, it's too much. Like, I'm not naive. I'm not saying that teen shows shouldn't like showcase sex. It can be handled better in a way that doesn't seem like everyone's doing it, because it could make teens self-conscious as well. And also, like, in these sex scenes, they shouldn't be sexualizing teens. I feel like sex education kind of does that really well. Like, it's not perfect, but I don't think the sex scenes in sex education aim to sexualize these teenagers, but to portray them in a realistic light, which I'm not against. So there's nothing wrong with having an abundance of teen shows. I just think Hollywood's obsession with adolescent life is really weird, considering the fact that most of these shows are based in between the ages 15 and 18. Those are the character ages. And that's only 3 years, and the average lifespan of a human is 79 years. There's so much more to explore. There's literally so much. Your 20s is 10 years long. And they choose to showcase these 3 years over and over again. We need something new, and like, draw attention to other aspects of life, man. There's like a whole bit in the middle that no one really cares about. As I said at the beginning, teen shows obviously started because like the opportunity for Hollywood to make more money. But I feel like people are changing their ideas around teen shows, and people are like seeing how problematic teen shows actually are and how teens are portrayed. You can just see that all the criticism that Euphoria has gotten of it being a teen show, it could be so easily be transferred into university setting. But you know, I feel like there's an opportunity here. There's an opportunity to appeal to the same audience that's changing and realising how messed up some of these shows are by aging up shows and making it less problematic. It's simple. It's a simple fix. Okay. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really enjoyed this. I hope you enjoyed it too. Just my thoughts. If you agree or even disagree, comment it down below. Like, I'm really interested in your thoughts. Subscribe if you haven't already. As of now, I'm 8 for my goal. If you read my description, the goal is 250 and I'm 8 away. So if you're not subscribed, be one of those 8 people. So yeah, thank you so very much for watching. I hope you have an amazing rest of the day. Bye.